We ride together. We die together. Bad boys for life.
For sure. But let's go ahead and get into this Moon Knight episode, man. I believe it was titled The Suit, if I'm not mistaken.
No. Summon the Suit.
Summon the Suit. That's what it was. Summon the Suit.
Episode 2. Summon the Suit.
Yep, taking place after we see Mark as Moon Knight hand that jackal that brutal ass beating where the jackal was trying to escape the bathroom, and he said, "No, you bring your ass back up in here." So, but following that altercation, we open up this episode with Steven. We open up the episode with Steven in his bed, reliving the sounds of that beating in the bathroom. He wakes up and tries to run out of his bed, and he's still attached to the bed. So, but he's starting to realize now that, okay, this is actually really happening to me. Like, I'm really going through all these things.
Like, this is real.
Yeah, like these aren't dreams. Like, I'm actually living this. So, and we open up with Steven. It's hard for me to differentiate. It's not hard for me to differentiate in the show, but
when you're talking
about him and trying to name him, it's like, okay, hold on, who was he at this point in time? But he was Steven. He goes back to the museum, and they go to look at the security footage, and all of a sudden he's with the security guard, and the security guard is like, "Dude, I don't see anything. Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, you were the one that destroyed everything." And Mark, see, I keep doing it. Steven keeps trying to tell him, like, no, there was this giant dog, that I was wrestling away from, trying to get away from, and things like that. And that giant dog was the reason for everything being destroyed. But then as they forward through, you see Mark walk up to the camera and take a look, and you can almost tell that he was looking at Steven like, dude, this is serious. Like, you gotta really, like, get serious about this. So what are you thinking about this? What do you think about this episode overall, man? Like, what do you think? How do you think this show is going so far?
I think it's off to a great start. Yeah. They teased us with the suit first episode. Second episode, we got a little nice, clean version of the suit. Yeah. Well, Steven's version of the suit.
Yeah, that Mr. Knight suit.
Yeah, then we got the true Moon Knight suit. Yeah. When he fought that other jackal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, man, it was excellent.
Yeah.
Like, that scene when he was like, all right, let me lure him into a spot where I can actually kill him. And he was, like, running across the buildings. And like that, I thought that was pretty dope to see. So I'm excited for the rest of the season. I think it's gonna be great. So far, I'm having fun watching it, and it's a different take on it. This Egyptian culture, and even at the end of the episode, he went back home or back to where everything has started in Egypt. It looks like, right?
Yeah,
it looks like they went back to Egypt. They all had brief talks about hieroglyphics. So I feel like they are playing a lot more into they're giving more information on it.
Into that Egyptian culture,
yeah, like giving us a taste of what that looks like, and also incorporating into a Marvel character that not many people know of. So it's a whole different culture, and that's another side note. Like the way Marvel has been culturally with their depictions, their cultural depictions. I guess
they've been real. Like I feel like this phase they've been really focusing on the inclusivity.
Oh yeah, like the Eternals, Shang-Chi, this show. So I think it's a step in the right direction to see heroes of all kinds, and then you're gonna get the Miss Marvel coming soon. So far I'm really enjoying this show.
Yeah, man, me too, man, and it's the Egyptian culture, from like you said. Like I when I was in world history, when we were learning about the Egyptian culture, that was like if I paid attention to anything in that class, I definitely paid attention to that class, because your boy not to toot my own horn, but
gosh.
your boy could read some hieroglyphics back then. I'm just saying, like, I'm talking like it's hard. It's
I'm not no King Tut or nothing, but I can read some. Yeah, all right.
No, reading hieroglyphics. I can't do it now. It's been so many years since that, but it's actually not that hard, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's learning an alphabet. That's all it is. But so later on in the show, Steven, Steven, he's sitting there after he gets fired from the museum for messing everything up, and that he couldn't prove that there was something there with him that he was running away from. He gets fired and he goes meet up with that. He goes to sit with that gold statue guy that he sits there and he basically has his like confessions with basically, and he's sitting there talking to him, and the old guy's silence basically alerts him to like gives him advice to go investigate. He has this phone, he has that cell phone and that key to that locker. That he had found up in his flat. So he goes to investigate that, and that's where we kind of get a brief explanation of what's going on with Mark and Khonshu. And Mark kind of just lets it known that you're the vessel for Khonshu, that we are the vessel. And basically we are the fist of justice, I guess is what they call it.
So they call it.
Yeah, so they call it. Yeah, the fist of justice. And my favorite part from in here was, first of all, I don't think we talked about it last time, but I'm loving what they're doing with the reflections, like how they're shooting with the reflections. And like how they're communicating through reflections and things like that, and the shots through reflections and things like they're playing heavy into the reflection shots, and I'm really enjoying that. And
like it's a different world.
Yeah,
like out of body experience.
Exactly, and they play with that a lot in this show. But one of my favorite parts of this episode in general was when after Mark explains to Steven what's going on, Steven's like, no, I'm taking all this illegal shit and I'm taking it to the feds, and I hope they lock me up, and so I can't ever hurt nobody again. As he's running, we get that hallway scene, and I don't know if did you ever see the movie Lights Out? This scene almost kind of reminded me of that, like the opposite version of, because
there's so many movies that've done that before though.
I know, but
what you're saying.
That was the thing for that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was what that movie was based on, based on. So, but you're right. A lot of other movies have done it, but I just enjoyed how they did it here, especially when I don't know if you peeped, but they did like a freeze frame scare on Steven's face, where like when Khonshu showed up, he was like, ah.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Yeah, I
thought my TV had messed up for a second.
I did too.
Then I'm like, yo, they really just threw that in there out of nowhere. But yeah, man, I enjoyed that scene, man. And right after that, we get introduced to the character that was calling him on the phone, Layla, and we find out that this was his
fiance,
his wife.
Right, yeah, they were married.
So what did you think about Layla and what she brings to this show, man?
I think it gave us more clarity as far as what mission was going on. Like obviously, her and Mark were working on something, discovering something bigger than what was going on. Like there's something bigger. There's a bigger picture that they were really investigating, and they were close to getting it. And I think that's the whole purpose of them going back to Egypt. But I know now she's like, okay, she's understanding of what's going on, especially after his encounter with the one guy. I can't think of
Arthur.
Yeah. After that encounter, she was like, okay, I see that he's literally not Mark. Like, this is some random dude.
It took her a minute.
It took her a while. Like, she didn't think so at first. Like, no, you're Mark. What are you talking about? But now she actually seen it firsthand. Like, okay, like now I'm on your side. This is what we got to do. Yeah. So now it's like, all right, she's on our team. we got a little bit about her, and I'm excited to see what else she brings to the table.
Yeah, which shocked me. I didn't think she was going to be a badass. Like, I mean, not saying that she wasn't a badass, but she started.
We didn't think of that.
Yeah,
either.
she started whooping ass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Then Khonshu had mentioned it was like, your replacement is closer than you think, my brother.
Exactly.
And I think that's when it was like, okay,
right.
She's really bodied.
Yeah, like there's something about
there's
something that he sees in her that like he's like, no, that's if I part ways from you, Mark.
Yeah,
that's my next vessel. So just remember that.
Yep.
But yeah, and
that's like his next in line, the next.
Yeah, so it's like
if he messes up,
right? So it's like you can go ahead and. Because Mark it keeps reminding him that we made a deal. Like, as soon as I help you with this last mission, I'm done. Yep. And you relinquish me. And Khonshu's like, that's fine, but just know you're not gonna like who my next avatar is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to see where it's gonna go with that and what we're gonna learn more about Layla as a character. And speaking of her being his wife, apparently Mark. You can tell that Mark is trying to distance himself away from her
because he doesn't want her in it.
Yeah, because he doesn't want her in it, and he doesn't. He wants her
as most superheroes do with their significant
others, and he wants her as far away as possible, especially since Khonshu is eyeing her. You know what I'm saying? So, he sent her divorce papers. Yeah,
that's why when they had that first interaction with her and Steven, Mark was in the back in the reflection, like, don't bring her into this.
Yeah. Like the whole episode, he was pleading with him, like, dude, don't tell her anything. Like, but she still ends up finding out anyway, because she didn't understand what she was getting into. She's sitting here dealing with this man that supposedly is her husband, and he doesn't even know who she is. Yeah. So. I'm with you. I'm definitely interested in her character and where she's gonna go. But later on in the episode, we like you did bring up the fight with the Jackal and the Mr. Knight character, which is also I wanted to bring up as well. How do you feel about, because originally in the comic books, he doesn't necessarily have supernatural powers. He's regarded, like, a lot of people see him as Marvel's Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just, he's got these multiple personalities, just like Bruce and Batman are two different personalities. Yeah. He has a rich personality that, funds all his escapades, and then he has the nose to the streets personality, and things like that. So how do you feel about the change up from the comic books to what we got now, as far as him having like these supernatural powers, being able to call on the suits instead of actually having to put on a suit?
I think it's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Because when you think about Egyptian culture, you're thinking supernatural gods.
Yeah. I'm already possessed by a god as it is.
He's already possessed by a god, so it makes sense how he summons the suit per se, as opposed to just slipping into it like Batman.
Yeah,
I mean, they try to be, they try to follow the comic books.
Yeah, but it's more of an adaptation than it is adaptation translation.
But yeah, like this is a new take on it. That's going from the comics to the big screen, so a lot of people don't even know who Moon Knight is. This is people's first time seeing who this character is or what he can do. So I think it's a great way to introduce him. I mean, it's different. It brings more excitement to it than it just being like, okay, he just running around punching people a little harder than normal. Like, it's different.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too, and I believe it was a way for them to differentiate from Batman as well, because I believe they knew what they were getting into when they decided to put this into production.
It's just Batman wrapped in toilet paper.
Exactly, that's exactly what he basically is.
Yeah, they're gonna be mad.
There are some people that hate that comparison, but in reality, that's exactly what he is. Batman wrapped in toilet paper.
Yeah. But I think he's doing this thing for sure.
Yeah, man, and I do too. And at the end of this episode, I wanted to highlight this part too, because Oscar Isaac's acting in this show is phenomenal. For him to be able to portray these two different personalities,
Two different voices.
yeah, and it's like he's
Their accents.
like you can like if I was to meet these two people in real life, other than their looks, I would think they were completely different people. You know what I'm saying? I would think y'all are twins that are just completely different people or something like that. But it was a scene where after he defeats the Jackal as Moon Knight, after switching from the Mr. Knight character over, after Mark takes over the body, and Steven is pleading with him to let go of the body and let me get back. And Mark's like, no, I can't. Like, I have to get this. I have to see this through. And then after that, I'm done. You can have the body. You won't ever hear from me again. Da 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 da. And Steven's like, no, I want my body now. I want my body now. And then in comes Khonshu, bringing in his 2 cents. So now he's got both of them in his ear. And next thing you know, he just snaps and he just starts stomping out this mirror. And at this point, I'm like, yo, like this man can fucking act. Yeah. Like he was acting his ass off in this scene, man. So how have you felt about his acting so far, and how his portrayal of these two different people?
Yeah, I mean,
for the show.
I agree. I'm right there with you, hand in hand.
Yeah.
I think he's doing excellent. Yeah, to depict two different people, but be the same person essentially. Yeah, is probably not an easy task. No, and he's handling it well, like bouncing from accent to accent, and then on top of that, like you can sense how different they really are from each other. Yeah, and one's just nervous, like I'm just a gift shop guy. And the other one's like I'm really about this business. We got to get to it. Yeah. It's like two different like worlds right there, and you get to see it like face to face. And yeah, I think he's acting his ass off, and for sure, I enjoy it. Like there's still he still has that comedic aspect to him when he's acting as Steven, and then when he flips over to Mark, it's like, all right, time to get serious. Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man, 100%. So, but that's it for our Moon Knight review, guys. Let us know with you guys how you guys are feeling about the show so far. That was episode 2. Remember, please, if you guys can, like and comment and let us know what you guys are thinking of the show, what you guys are thinking of the things, the points that we brought up as well, and and please, and just share it as well, and we'd appreciate it kindly.